Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you all today. Today, we will be exploring a very interesting topic. The presentation is titled Checklist-Based Document Review System. I'm excited to share insights on this innovative approach. Over the next few minutes, we'll look into how this system can streamline document reviews and improve efficiency. So let's get started. Welcome to this section on documentation in pharmaceutical manufacturing. As many of you know, documentation is the backbone of ensuring product quality, regulatory compliance, and ultimately, patient safety. Every step in production, packaging, testing, and quality control needs to be carefully recorded and verified. To keep things consistent and reduce human error, many organizations use a checklist-based document review system. Think of it as a structured and reliable method to review documents thoroughly. This system involves predefined, standardized verification points that guide reviewers through each aspect of a document. By doing so, we make sure that critical elements, such as whether entries are complete, data is accurate, and procedures are followed according to good documentation practices, are all thoroughly checked. Using a checklist helps reviewers systematically spot errors, omissions, or inconsistencies that might otherwise be missed in manual reviews. It's also important to note that regulatory authorities like the US FDA and the WHO emphasize having robust document review systems as part of good manufacturing practices and maintaining data integrity. Adopting a checklist-based approach not only helps us stay compliant, but also improves traceability, accountability, and transparency across our documentation processes. Let's take a closer look at the structure of a checklist. A standard checklist typically includes key components such as the document name and number, review parameters, and options like yes, no, or N.A. There's also usually a remarks section for any additional comments, and a space for the reviewer's signature and date to ensure accountability. Now, what exactly is a checklist-based review system? It's essentially a predefined set of verification points that reviewers use to evaluate documents systematically. The main goal here is to make sure that no step is overlooked during the review process. Using a checklist helps improve consistency across reviews, making sure everyone is following the same steps and standards. It also significantly reduces human error by providing clear, structured guidance. For example, one common checklist item might be asking, are all entries signed and dated? This simple question helps ensure that the documentation is complete and properly authorized. Overall, integrating a checklist-based review system supports thorough, reliable, and efficient document evaluations, which aligns perfectly with our overall goal of quality assurance. Now, let's take a closer look at the types of documents we review during this process. First, we have batch manufacturing records, or BMRs, which detail every step of the manufacturing process for each batch. Then, there are batch packaging records, or BPRs, that document the packaging activities. We also review logbooks, which can be related to equipment or specific areas to track operational details and conditions. Analytical reports are another key type, providing vital data on product quality and stability. Lastly, we examine SOPs and validation documents to ensure procedures are followed correctly and validated properly. Moving on, the objectives of our checklist-based review are quite clear. Our main goal is to ensure that all documentation is complete and accurate, nothing is overlooked. This is crucial for maintaining data integrity, which we often refer to with the acronym ALCOA+, standing for attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, and complete. Standardizing our review process helps us maintain consistency and efficiency across all documents. It also allows us to detect errors early, preventing issues from escalating later in production or regulatory review. Ultimately, these steps are essential to ensure we remain compliant with regulatory standards and uphold the quality and safety of our products. By focusing on these key points, we reinforce the importance of thorough, consistent documentation review in maintaining our quality system and meeting regulatory expectations. Let's take a closer look at regulatory requirements. When we perform a checklist-based review, it aligns closely with key guidelines such as the GMP guidelines from WHO and the Data Integrity Guidelines from the US FDA. These standards are essential to ensure our processes meet international quality and integrity expectations. Now, focusing on the key expectations, it's crucial to have a documented review process. This means every step we take is recorded clearly, providing a transparent trail that can be audited if needed. Traceability of the reviewer is also vital. Knowing exactly who reviewed what and when helps maintain accountability and consistency. Lastly, error identification and correction are fundamental. We need to be able to spot mistakes early and correct them promptly, ensuring that our data remains accurate and reliable throughout the process. Connecting all these points, implementing these regulatory requirements not only keeps us compliant, but also reinforces the integrity and quality of our work, which is the overall goal of our quality management system. Let's now review some key checklist points to ensure everything is in order. First, we want to make sure that all entries are complete. Missing information can lead to delays or errors, so thoroughness here is crucial. Next, we need to verify the accuracy of the data and calculations. Small mistakes can have big impacts, so double-checking these helps maintain integrity. It's also important to confirm that signatures and dates are properly verified. This adds accountability and confirms approval. We should ensure that all documents comply with GDP requirements, which is vital for regulatory adherence. Lastly, consistency across all documents is essential. Discrepancies can cause confusion and undermine the credibility of the submission. By systematically reviewing these points, we reinforce the overall quality and reliability of our work, supporting the broader goal of compliance and excellence in our processes. Let's take a look at the logbook review. The key checklist item here is asking whether the equipment usage time matches the BMR record. For example, if the BMR indicates a mixing time of 45 minutes, but the logbook shows only 30 minutes, that discrepancy needs to be investigated further. This kind of mismatch could point to issues such as recording errors or process deviations. Another common example is when the yield is written as 98% in the logbook, but the actual yield was 92%. When we spot such discrepancies during the review, it's important to flag them for further investigation. Now, moving on to the table, we see some checkpoints. First, we ask, are all steps completed? And in this case, yes, they are. Next, we check if the yield calculation is correct. Here, we've identified that it's not, which warrants further review. Lastly, we verify if all signatures are present, and in this example, they are. To summarize the checklist sample, the BMR checklist, it's a systematic way to ensure that each step and record accurately reflects what actually happened during the process. This thorough review helps us catch inconsistencies early, maintain data integrity, and support overall quality control. Let's talk about the proper correction process to ensure GDP compliance. First, when correcting a mistake, you should strike through the incorrect entry. Then, write the correct value clearly next to it. It's important to sign and date the correction to maintain accountability. Finally, always provide a brief justification for the change, explaining why the correction was necessary. It's crucial to note what is not allowed. Overwriting, erasing, or using a whitener to fix errors are all forbidden, as they can obscure the original data and compromise the integrity of the record. To detect errors early, we use a checklist to identify common issues such as missing entries, wrong calculations, illegible handwriting, and unapproved corrections. For example, if you find a blank temperature field, that's considered a critical error because it can affect data accuracy and compliance. Addressing these issues promptly helps us maintain reliable and compliant records throughout the process. Let's talk about the benefits of using a checklist-based review process. First, it really helps improve accuracy and consistency across the board. When everyone follows the same steps, we reduce the chances of missing important details or making errors. This consistency is key to maintaining high quality. Next, it significantly reduces the risk of batch rejection. By catching issues early through a thorough review, we can prevent problems from escalating and ensure our batches meet all necessary standards. It also enhances audit readiness. Having a well-structured checklist means everything is documented and organized, making audits smoother and less stressful. Plus, it ensures we stay compliant with regulatory requirements. By systematically checking off compliance points, we minimize the risk of non-compliance penalties. And finally, it saves us time during reviews. Instead of rechecking or going back to fix mistakes, a checklist helps us work more efficiently from the start. All of these benefits tie back to our overall goal of improving quality, efficiency, and compliance in our processes. Let's take a look at some of the common challenges we face in maintaining effective checks. One major issue is reviewer fatigue, which can lead to mistakes or missed details over time. When people become tired or overwhelmed, it's easy to overlook important steps, especially during repetitive checks that can feel monotonous. Additionally, incomplete checklists can pose a problem, as they might omit critical items, increasing the risk of oversight. Now, to address these challenges, we need targeted solutions. First, implementing comprehensive training programs ensures everyone understands not just what to do, but why it matters, keeping engagement high. Regularly updating checklists helps keep them relevant and thorough, preventing them from becoming outdated or incomplete. And finally, leveraging digital systems like e-checklists can streamline the process, making checks more efficient, reducing fatigue, and minimizing human error. These solutions are all about creating a more resilient and reliable process, which ties back to our overall goal of improving quality and safety across the board. So, to wrap things up, let's talk about the conclusion. A checklist-based document review system really proves to be a powerful tool in our quality control arsenal. It helps us ensure compliance with GMP standards, which is absolutely critical in our industry. It also makes it easier to detect and correct errors effectively, saving us time and reducing risks. Plus, it plays a vital role in maintaining data integrity, ensuring that our records are accurate and trustworthy. And finally, it supports our batch release decisions, giving us confidence that each batch meets the required quality standards. What's really important here is how this system transforms what used to be a manual, possibly inconsistent task, into a systematic, reliable quality control process. It brings a level of consistency and thoroughness that's essential for maintaining high-quality standards across all our operations. This is really about turning a potentially tedious task into a structured, efficient process that enhances overall quality and compliance. For further support, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help with any questions or additional information you might need. Feel free to contact us through the provided channels. And with that, I want to thank you all for your time and attention today. Your engagement is truly appreciated, and I hope you found this presentation valuable. If anything comes up later, remember we're just a message or call away. Thank you again, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.